So Carol,
Here.
McKee,
Here.
Hendricks,
Here.
Gill,
Here.
Woodhouse,
Here.
Fleming, Brookins.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Great. And was the meeting noted?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is properly noticed.
Great. Okay, not a real big agenda here, but I need a motion to move the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Go. We also need improvements from last month. And we all read them, right?
I read them, but I wasn't here, so I can't think.
Okay, so a motion to approve the minutes is. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Brookins.
Aye.
Brookins was the first.
Okay, so public comment. Are there any folks want to say something to the committee? All right, so we're on to reports. We'll go with zoning first.
Kind of I'd like to give a brief synopsis of the amount of our workload. So far this year, 82 land use permits, 31 sanitary permits, 26 soil and site evaluations. We'll be going through 2 more rezones, which will bring us to 11 for the year. And we've issued 32 new address signs. All those numbers are kind of in line with normal workload. We're down a little bit, land use permits and sanitary permits from previous years. Possible showing signs of a little downtick in the economy. I know other seeing the same type of numbers, down a little bit from previous years. You know, we had, if you think about it, 2019, 2020, and 2021 were really high workload years in those categories. So, yeah, we're down slightly. We launched our Catalyst program, our tracking software and our permit tracking software, and folks can now apply online for permits. So that's going on right now, and it's live. It can be found on our website. There's a link to it on the zoning department page.
There are a few glitches, they're working out.
With any new software, there's gonna be glitches to work out. So, I mean, we're working through that type of stuff. So,
If you get in there and you see something that isn't working right, let us know, so.
yeah.
So we can pass it on, because
The main thing is the fees right now that we're seeing the fees aren't jiving real well, but you know, like I said, we're working through that and hopefully we find some good solutions to that really soon here. So, you know, we were up to date on current permits, entered into the system. And I don't know if the public can view them.
the permits,
Yeah,
no, I think that's one thing we're gonna work on through.
okay.
We talked about land records council and updating the land records plan and working on getting more things as a layer so people could look at them. It may just take a while.
Yeah.
Several years before we get it all on there.
So all this year's permits are in. We had talked about hiring interns and, you know, that's not gonna happen this year, but you know, that'll be an ongoing thing that we work through. I'll let Katrina started. I'll let her talk a little bit about where she's at with things and kind of go from there.
I'm Katrina. I'm the new zoning administrator helping out. Currently, I've just been doing a lot of studying for the sanitary permits and zoning ordinances, so I can take my exam at the end of July for the Pouts inspector. And then beginning of August, I'm gonna take the certified soil tester exam. So just kind of focusing in on those so I can pass and
Good
take
luck.
over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I don't know if everybody knows the state, Department of Safety and Public Services requires licensing a house inspector's license to inspect and sign off on sanitary permits and a certified soil tester license to be able to review and sign off on the soil tests that we get for those sanitary systems.
So she's taking hers in July, Paul's in July, her soil testers in August, and I'm taking my soil testers in August and my Paul's in October, so hopefully we'll have people in office that can handle it, and until then, Matt will probably be backing off because we take over more of the zoning part of it, but some of the, we're not, until we're authorized to sign off on things, we'll have to have his help on the sanitary stuff.
And we've been out on a couple inspections. We got one this afternoon for to kind of show her what to look for on those sanitary installs and what to document and what you need to, that when DSPS does their audit every year, what they're gonna comb through. So, yeah, working towards it.
So the Catalyst software, I guess I'm not that familiar with it. You guys have added a link to the webpage then for that?
If you go into the website, the zoning website, it'll say, and the thing in the, like the right-hand corner that says this public portal, citizens public portal, and that's where you go. And you
Okay,
can apply for any of the permits through there. There's just been some glitches. Like I said, the fees aren't in there correctly, so we're working on that. Barb Scott's been working on that, and then we're trying to make things easier. So, but it's just, like you said, any new software, there's gonna be glitches that things aren't working right. We just wanna make sure, you go in there and even, kind of look at, or you're maybe having struggles with it, let us know. So we can get a hold of them and find out what the struggles are and see what we can do to fix it.
Yeah, maybe it's something Barb can work through, and maybe it's something that we'll have to get a hold of Catalyst to fix. So, yeah.
okay,
Okay. First I'll talk about the staff. Corey Rogers, she's our conservation technician on the agronomy side. Her main focus is working on farmland preservation program, doing the monitoring for that. She's been starting to put together the information on that, updating certificates of compliance for landowners as land changes hands or they sell off, a 40 or whatever. She's been updating those certificates and monitoring them. She's also been, when she interned with Wisconsin Department of Ag, she worked on the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program. It's a program that involves county or federal and state. The state has a thing called perpetual easement. So if somebody puts their land into perpetual easement, things are supposed to be staked and they have to be monitored so since she had experience in that, she's kind of taken over the monitoring of that. So she's been going out with Department of Ag and then Derek from her office to kind of set points and making sure the cover is there so she knows what she's looking for. I know what I'm looking for too, but I mean, it's just with taking on more of the zoning and sanitary duties, I need to pass the buck, have to be able to do it. And she's been really good about, she's doing a mentoring program with the county conservationist in Sauk County. So she's been going and doing some site visits with her and they're talking about things and learning more and more. And it's nice having, looking at what other counties are doing so she can see. She's also been working with her counterparts in Iowa and Lafayette County, meeting them, seeing what they're doing. They're all new too. So getting to know how to do things, working, figuring out things together, which is good. And she's been doing some training, but she has found some training programs on her own. Other things, some online things through Wisconsin Land and Water and others just to get better educated on what needs to be done. Jen Schrapp, our office system tech, she's been monitoring the budget. She's been doing all the address points. She's picked that up really well and that she's also done some training stuff for zoning and for land conservation because she's doing both and learning how things work. Right now, she's more on zoning right now just because she's new, I'm new. She's here once or twice a week. So just all kind of learning together on how to handle that. We also have this big plotter in our office and it's been sitting there for like how many years without being used, and she's figured out how to do this, scan like big maps and print them out, and now she's working on trying to actually go on the computer and print off maps, so eventually maybe we can, if somebody wants a big map, we can make them for it and then sell it, you know, have them pay for the cost of doing that. And Derek, our conservation tech, he has been working, currently he's got 3 dams he's working on, a crossing and riprap sites. This is all for this money, cost share money we get from the state. He has another riprap site to survey as well as a crossing. And then he's been kind of the technician working on us with Cazenovia Sanitary District and the Boya Sanitary District to do some, help them with some water quality trading and to talk with landowners. All of us in the office, we have this aquatic invasive species grant. And so we've all been doing, pretty much all of us, not Katrina yet, but the rest of us have gone out and done some sites for clean boats, clean water. You go into a boat landing, sit for a couple hours, and as people come in, you talk to them about how to clean their boats, the trailers, so they're not taking things back and forth. The other thing we're going to have, and if anybody's interested, I've got a sign up downstairs, or a sign downstairs. We're going to be doing what's called a snapshot day. So August 10th, I think that's a Saturday. That Saturday, we're going to be meeting at the park shelter there on, where the old community center used to be there on Seminary, and invite people, and then we're going to split up in groups, and we're going to go along the kayak landing up on, off of Highway 80 there, and do spend an hour or two looking for aquatic invasive species. And then we report that to the state. So if anybody's interested, it says how to sign up. We also have it on our Facebook page. So it's kind of a little bit of everything. Oh, and then haven't got the reports back yet, but the Davy Engineering, we're required to have for so many years to have our Mill Creek dams, some of our Mill Creek dams inspected by an engineer. And so we had a consortium with Vernon and a couple other counties to do these inspections to get a cheaper fee. And so they were supposed to do 2 this year and 2 next year, but they decided to do all 4 this year. So we got 4 of them done, and I just have to go through the reports and see what needs to be done. So that's all I've got.
Kathy, are things going smoothly with the GIS third party working with you?
So far, but I think that's something that'll be talked about at budget time. If there's sometimes it'd be nice to have somebody in-house to do, because it's not just the departments here that use it a lot, but you've got highway department could use it a lot. There's other departments that have uses for tracking items that would be nice. Yeah, so we got, Real Property Lister and us and Register Deeds are the heaviest users, but you've got, the sheriff. And then you've got all these other departments that'd be nice to have somebody in-house to be able to help us set up layers and track, even if it's not public layers, it's internal layers.
So that's going to get a revisit during the budget then.
Yes, we've actually developed a job description and highway rate with Southwest Regional Planning and developing some additional layers as well. In fact, the Real Property Lister was wanting some culvert layers. And I said, well, I believe highway is actually already working on those, and they are. So we are setting up a meeting with Josh so that he and Julie can chat, because that's already being done. But again, we just need to make sure our departments are collaborating. And once those layers are done, then they will turn those layers over to us. And so again, I think there's plenty of work for us to have an in-house GIS, and there's plenty of funding so that a lot of that salary may be paid for as well, just because there are a lot of different pots that we can take that funding and pull it together. So it is something that we are revisiting, and we have developed a job description for the wage study to make sure that we get a rating on that for going forward as well.
Good.
Are we talking about a person or
Yes.
technology or, yeah, exactly.
All of the above. I mean, we have the technology now. Right now it's contracted out, and so it's MSA, right? Is utilizing the technology. We have recently upgraded, it's Arc Pro, right? Upgraded the technology that we have. We bought new licenses, upgraded licenses, and our staff is obtaining more training. We put more money in the budget, and we're really working on getting them better versed to utilize the technology that we now have. But having someone with the expertise to navigate all the layers and be able to utilize that, even for elections, having someone who can navigate the GIS system is super helpful. Drawing out maps, especially during, let's say, redistricting, when the census comes out, it can be critical. So there's a lot of functionality within GIS across many, many, many departments. Public health can use the organization track, all sorts of stuff that you can do. So I do think it's a position that I can only see grow in the way we can use it. So I think it's a worthwhile.
Thank you. A little background for the new board members. We had our in-house GI tech for years. When they retired, we couldn't find anyone at that time. And so that's why we contracted with NFA. But I agree that there's enough going on there. It's coordination's much more efficient if they have someone in-house. So
Yeah, the GIS tech was actually the assistant zoning administrator who had GIS duties. So you can't find somebody that has both of those, have their POUTS, their soil tester's license, and do GIS. It's just impossible to find somebody. We just lucked out that she did that. She learned on the job, the GIS stuff. So we had to drop the GIS stuff, just go with the zoning stuff.
hey, so extension, what you got, Adam?
So just kind of give a real brief update on what's going on with the educators. So we're almost back to full staff, I would say, where we haven't always been. We had, as I mentioned last time, Beth McElwain, who was a regional livestock educator. She started May 20th, and she's housed out of Vernon County. But I know she's already been in Richland County. She's been to the beef producers meeting. She's been out to a couple pasture walks in Crawford County, met a few producers there. So she's also come out, visited with a producer and met with Corey Stolzberg from Southwest Tech and talked about what's going on with his program and how she might be able to help there. We had Anastasia Kurth start on the 24th of this past month. She's regional crops, soils. She's housed out of the Sauk County office, but she was here last week, Wednesday. Took her around, showed her around over different spots in the county. So I think those two will be a great complement for us in our ag side of things. As far as 4-H goes, it's been pretty busy. We've been doing a lot of project meetings. We had our 4-H foods review, and they had a grilled cheese contest in conjunction with their foods review. So I think that went over really well. Today is actually an Explorer Day Camp for grades 3 through 5 to learn about the 4-H program and different projects they might be able to pursue. So those are just a couple things that are happening there. In our FoodWise program, Monica Diaz has really been taking off. Now that school's out, she's been working a lot with, there's a school garden, and there's also, she's been doing some work with the farmer's market and EBT. So how to better utilize EBT at farmers markets so that we can use those SNAP dollars that are available to families to help supplement the farmer's market and be able to buy more produce that way. So those are some of the things she's been working on. And last but definitely not least, as of last week, Monday on the 24th, Sarah joined us as the Human Development and Relationships Educator. This was the position that was formerly held by Chelsea Waneke. So as she starts and grows in this position, starting with a focus on family financial. So some of the programs that she'll be getting up to speed on real quick are Planning Ahead, Red Smart, financial coaching, some of those programs that we offer. in addition to getting out and meeting a lot of community members, doing some formal and informal needs assessment and figuring out what the families in Richland County need for education, primarily based around, again, financial is the main one, but we also partnership and part of a lot of coalitions with our health department and just in the school districts to see where we can overlap to make things better for families. So with that, I will let Sarah introduce herself.
Yes, my name's Sarah. You've been really, I'm working on the name. It's a lot, HDRI, I think. The educator. I have a background in science communication. That's what my bachelor's was in. And I recently got my master's in journalism and media communications. Previously, I did some work. I got my master's degree at Colorado State University, and I worked with their extension office as during the summer as an internship, and I've done some teaching stuff. I worked as a teaching assistant, and I've done a lot of science communication work over at UW-Madison while I was doing my undergrad there. So yeah, I'm really excited to work in this county.
Anybody on the committee have any questions for him? I have one. You say there's a day camp? Where would they do that?
So I don't exactly know where I think they might be doing it at the fairgrounds today. I don't know.
That's what they put out.
This
Sorry,
one,
I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah,
My kids all were, usually the 4-H junior leaders help out with it. And so my kids did that through the junior leaders. So they bring, it's like half a day or so, and they have different things for the kids to work on. And it's kids helping kids. So it's, older mentoring, which is kind of nice. But they learn, it's been at the old extension office and then the last few years it's been at the fairgrounds.
and we'll also do some meetings and depending on the number and the breakout spaces, we've used Pippin Center on campus and wherever. We try to get out to make the space needs fit.
Okay, thank you. See, okay, zoning petitions. What do we got?
First one is for Harvey Schmucker. A little background, we have 2 townships in the county that are town zoned, that never adopted the county zoning, but they have their own zoning. Ithaca is one of them. This rezone is in Ithaca, so basically we're just looking for a committee to recommend it for county approval. So it's 5 acres. They're splitting off 5 acres. The buildings and house, and they're keeping the rest of the land to farm, the rest of the farmland. Rezone would be from ag forest to ag residential. Basic gist of it. We sent out the packet or letter to all their surrounding neighbors. Heard from one neighbor on this. But other than that, we didn't get any responses, so.
Okay. I realize this is their zoning, but in general, when we get these where someone's splitting off the farm buildings, I always wonder, is the remaining parcel still above 35? And, usually it doesn't mention that.
Right.
And is that, wait, I assume it's zoning be pretty similar to ours?
Yes.
Any questions from the committee?
I have a question. You said one of the neighbors contacted. Were there concerns?
More informational. He's actually right. Yeah, just more informational.
Okay. So we need a motion to pass this on?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, asking for a motion.
I'll second.
A second from Julie. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one's done.
Second one is Rob Spronick. In town of Buena Vista. Again, ag forestry to ag residential. Town passed it. it's gonna be 6.36 acres he's splitting off. We didn't get any contact from any of the neighbors on this one. Again, just splitting, keeping the cropland, splitting off the house and buildings. Okay.
Right.
You guys own the additional or additional acreage around there too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're gonna have, with those neighboring parcels, they're gonna have more than 35 acres to kind of answer, your previous question.
Yeah.
Well, technically not.
No,
This parcel is separate from from the farm. So there'd only be 33 approximately, yeah. Total amount's not on here, but I believe the whole parcel is around. No, I'm probably wrong, but it was around 34, 35 acres total.
and you don't have any other adjoining acreage to it.
No,
So I guess that's my question. Is that a concern? Do we need to rezone both of them, or how's that work?
Technically, it probably should be.
even though the rest is 100% tillable crop ground.
Yeah,
It's 35 acre rule. That's-
yeah.
It's 35 acres. I've got a question back there.
I'm Todd Romer, the county surveyor. I also did the survey for the surroundings here. Generally, the zoning doesn't, at least it's been a policy in the past of the zoning department, if the use is not changing on the remainder of the land, that does not need to be rezoned. So in this case, it's ag forestry, it's remaining ag forestry. The use is gonna be crop. So it's changing. Now, if the surroundings came back and said, hey, we want to put a house on that 34 or 33 acres or whatever, that's when the rezoning would be required.
Yeah, that's your checks and balances, yeah.
Right, so that's how it's been, the policy of the county has been in the past. So as long as that underlying use, in this case agriculture, does not change, then it does not need to be rezoned. But as soon as someone proposes to change that, then it has to be rezoned.
Makes sense, but I'm thinking maybe the committee should review the wording in our ordinance and make sure it says something to that effect, because I always thought if it's less than 35 acres, that's a different zoning. But if we have situations like this, we need to make sure the wording in there aligns with that. So I think we need to put that on a future agenda item to at least look at it.
What's the relevance of 35 acres?
It's a state, it goes back to when they developed the zoning for and permits and permit was farmer preservation, and in its state that says you have to have at least 35 acres to be zoned ag forestry.
The idea is they're trying to preserve farmland.
Right.
And how they come up with exactly 35, or I don't know.
That's what the state came up with, and so it's
That's
kind
the
of
state.
trickle down to
Yeah.
the county and the township. So that's like, if they get township zoning, you have to have 35 acres to be zoned ag forest.
That's what it's.
Yeah, if anybody knows, I'd love to know how they came up with 35, but.
It started before I was still in high school, so yeah, I don't know idea.
So it sounds like with the input from the surveyor, we're following the normal path here, so we get a motion to approve the rezone.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that one passes.
Now that goes on to this.
Right, yeah, that still goes to the county board. And then you're home free. Okay, next on the agenda is the short-term rental proposed ordinance. Again, for folks that weren't on this committee before, we've been looking at this for a long time, but it's always been kind of like secondary. There was just no rush, but or urgency like there is with rezones where people need that to do their business. And then it got put on the back burner for a while because with elections and a couple of people on the committee that were very active in that have stepped away. So that's why I asked you guys to all look at it last meeting, so that if you've got questions, this is the time. I looked at the current draft and there's still some cleanup involved. Things where just little notes saying check with this or it's not ready to go to press yet, but if there's more substantive questions you have, this is the time to bring them up. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, the other thing we wanted to make sure is we want this to be just like a good neighbor policy, but we also wanted to spend plenty of time kind of reviewing it, making sure we kind of got our wording correctly. But I know we're gonna have the attorney review it, just to see how it was worded, if everything was okay, and has that been done?
Yes, Mike got back to me, I believe, last week. I
Okay.
I can forward that email on.
Did he have any suggestions as far
He
as?
said legally, it's sound. He just questioned whether we wanted to roll it in with the current zoning ordinance or not. But I think it's, my feeling is it should be standalone. It shouldn't be rolled into the zoning ordinance. Because that was the question he had for me, is like,
Zoning ordinance is big enough already.
exactly. He
Yeah.
said, you want to roll this into the zoning ordinance? And
I think we talked as a separate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess I have a question. How do we create an actual license? I mean, that sounds silly, but I mean, is this gonna have like some kind of stamp? Is it gonna be a physical thing we have to create? How's that work?
It would just be
I'm
like,
looking at you.
a permit.
it's just like a permit, I guess. We'd have to come up with, we'd have to a placard or something we could print off and produce and then, have a signature on it. That's, who'd be authorized to sign that be the thing to find out how they want to do that. But I mean, there's all kinds of examples out there, I'm not opposed to looking at somebody else's, what they've gotten, copy and paste, it's just, when you don't have to recreate your own thing, it's better.
Is this something that could be possibly rolled into the catalyst thing?
It
It
could
could
be.
be, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely could be.
as another permit.
Or license, or
Licensed,
just enter it online and get their license that way.
Yeah, I'm assuming we could, we can talk with Barb about that.
Yeah, the only question is whether you'd want the county to become an agent to DADCAP or let DADCAP license them and sort of piggyback off of that. That's,
Yeah, that was some of the other discussion, and I think why this got tabled too was trying to decide about that agent.
I felt like I didn't want to put both of those on this month's agenda because that's a whole.
Whole other thing.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do that next month. Again, bring people up to speed on that decision, that question, and chew on it a bit. Yes.
So the people in the community that have these establishments, have they had a chance to review this? Because I'm just new to this community.
We've had several that have come in. And Marty Richards I think he's passed it on, talked to other people about it.
So is there a way, maybe I should just tag people that have had concerns and forward this to them, or?
They can see it on they can see it on our website with our agendas, and everything. Yeah, they can see that. And then people, of course, are gonna be given time to be brought up to date on that. It's not just to be.
We've got a 60-day
Yeah,
for grandfathered in thing. We've got a 60-day duration for them to get one if they're already doing it. But you make a good point. Since this has been on the back burner for a few months, I wonder if we should, make one more effort to look for public input.
Yeah.
I don't, it's just something that I could talk with Help Desk about maybe putting a tag on this in the zoning webpage for now as a draft. I don't know what you think.
Well, do you think maybe it would be better to get it more in the format you think
Right.
you're gonna go with? And
Yep.
then maybe
Right.
a public, maybe not a public hearing per se, but do kind of a press release stating anyone with a short-term rental that has interest in discussing or having input.
The press release sounded like a good idea.
Yeah, then that way they know it's coming, they can look at it, they can come to, you know, if you wanna have a meeting, you know, at a different time where maybe more people could come because of working hours and different things like that, then you could do it, you know, in the evening at some point. You know,
Yeah, I think what we talked about in the past is doing just that, getting it in the format that we wanted it and get a final amount, and then of course with the attorney approving everything looked good, and then going to that.
yep,
And then also maybe having an agent, if we could get somebody from the state, it sounded like they'd be willing to come out. And then people could ask questions at that point.
yeah, because I was
So they
thinking
understand how it
This
is.
would even really be a committee meeting, it would just be a
public listening
Yes.
session. and
Yes,
That way we'd have Attorney Wendell here and, you know, so if there were questions and
Right.
stuff.
yeah, that was
those
our
things
discussion in the
be
past.
addressed.
We just hadn't gotten to the point where we kind of finalized it for us or what we felt was there before we could get to that point.
And right now, I could say aside from things where little wording things, I think it's in the format we want. But again, I wanted you guys to look at it, see if you had questions or anything that looked confusing. So in terms of cleaning up the last little bits of notes that were not, in other words, referencing this or that, we need to do that. And then I think it'll be ready for some kind of a evening listening session. But is this something, who on staff would finish the final cleanup on that?
I'm assuming it's me.
Okay. Well, I can show you the spots that I saw and we can go over that. So anyway, this has been, like I say, been a long-term time working on, but you know, we want to get it right. And it'll be something new that we didn't have before. Another reason to have some kind of public, public.
And it started out with kind of a public thing with inviting all people that do have the short-term rentals in to talk about it. It was this meeting just dedicated to this, and then it's slowly been worked on using other examples and rewording it and working with Mr. Wendell. So,
Yeah, and like Julie said, we weren't trying to duplicate what's already required by the state. We just wanted to add a little bit of, we're calling them the good neighbor things, and just get a little bit of, we would like to know what all's going on in the county too.
Well, and just to be sure that they're all licensed as
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
because we have probably 100 or more, and we probably have 15 people that are licensed, or 20 maybe.
they have the state license.
Yeah, with the state license, right? So that's one of the things we want to ensure is that they're licensed with the state.
Okay, so that's where we're at with that, and later on, we'll figure out a good date for that listening session. Correspondence, do we get any correspondence?
Sorry, what? He's asking me something, I don't know.
Okay,
Oh, correspondence, no, sorry.
future agenda items. But you got stuff you wanna,
Okay, next month, do you want the agent of the state
I
or,
think that is one thing we should go ahead and revisit and the information on that, if we can make sure we get that to the committee members early enough so they can see what we're talking about. Were you the one that rounded that up, Matt?
Initially, the first time, yeah. I think you want to have Ted from DADCAP
Okay,
talk it, and I'll pass his contact information along. So, yeah, we'll see if we can get that scheduled for next month.
and then we'll still have the short term on there.
Mhm.
Um,
You wanted that reviewing the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, and I don't know, but the whole,
It's your part of this discussion too. If the county decided to be an agent of that gap, we need to figure out if that's in our overall best interest. So,
and the, like, I don't know if you want me to put the whole zoning ordinance on there, or do you want me to just put the sections in on the, for the zoning ordinance, if I just maybe the section on the ag forestry and ag residential zoning, is that what you want? Or what's determined to be ag forestry?
To talk about the 35 acres.
Yeah.
I think is what she's talking
oh,
about.
sorry, yes, right.
Just put the section on about the ag forest zoning requirements.
Making sure that the wording are,
Right, but if I'll put that on in the folder, but I don't know if you want me to put the whole zoning ordinance in there, so you look at the whole,
you don't need to do
just a
that.
section on the.
Yeah.
We don't wanna read all that?
I see it.
Mr. Chair, for the agenda, this said a forest slash residential zoning requirements, is that fair for your info? I don't know that you're wanting to look at. Make sure that the acreage, the number of acres
Yeah.
is,
Acreage.
yeah, is that.
Yep.
Okay, great, we want.
Yeah, it's.
Like Victoria said, we just want to make sure that what our policy, our spin aligns with what it actually said. Any other agenda items? Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I guess it's seconded by Mark. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
That makes sense. I don't think it's on my.